Szewczaks. It's me, Maja Szewczak, and welcome to another Idea Sunday. I have this piece that I don't know what to do with, but today we're going to figure it out in this Idea Sunday. Because I had this piece in the Idea Sunday box, but never used it. However, I think this would make a good palm tree for dolls, so we're going to use it. But first, let's paint those leaves green before we can turn it into a palm tree. So, apply the green acrylic paint, and I'm going to grab a paintbrush and paint everything green before turning it into a palm tree, and paint underneath it too, cause it looks like a tropical plant, but it's the wrong color, so that's what I thought about it. I will have to make some sort of palm tree with that, so that's what I'm doing. Or something with a little palm tree. And once that is painted, we need to let it dry. On 24th of November, there was the Mandarin Gobi tank that I did for that day's Translucent Monday, and the reason why I chose to do the palm tree for today's Idea Sunday is so I could cover up this piece of plastic. I also have those flowers that I'm going to remove because I only need the wire from it. Just need the wire for the palm tree. So I'm going to pierce a hole in the plastic, hoping nothing falls apart, and it will be for the wire part of it. So, putting it in, and the fish is back into the tank, and now I managed to get the wire into it, and I'm going to use this piece of wire to make the area for the palm tree, but yet I'll have to stitch that wire in somehow. I'm just trying to figure it out. Floating palm tree, well, that's silly, so we're not doing that. But I could connect it to the water slide somehow. So we're going to connect it. Or make a base for it. Okay. What do we have here? Aha. Now I know what to use. This one. I don't know why I put glue in it, but we're just going to do it anyways. Use it anyways. So let's just use that to get it in. Now the plant's too long, maybe I'll trim it a little. Into something smaller than that. There, at least I can glue it to add volume, because that was a bit too much. Height to it that I wanted to remove some of it. At least the longer pieces I can figure out what to do with them. But yet, I'm just adding those pieces to that. Like a plant by the pool. And now that has to dry. This area dried. And also the palm tree leaves. So we're going to have to try to use this, because that's the whole purpose of today's Idea Sunday. I was going to put it here, but it looks too small, so I will just have to add a smaller bit to the palm tree. So I found even more green wire that I can use for this. So just applying it like this. So I can actually add the small palm tree leaves to the palm. Not the solution I initially thought, but okay, maybe let's try it. Looks quite okay, but the leaves are kind of small. Maybe they can be overlay leaves. That can also be a thing with the palm tree. I also have this piece of fabric that can work for the actual palm tree leaves. For this palm tree that I'm making. So, I think I'm going to glue it under these leaves, hoping that will work. Just trying to figure things out. As I try to make it work, so I think I'll add even more palm tree leaves to it, like this, and I can add another one to the mix. So there we go. It does have to dry, but now I want to lighten the color of this palm tree overlay leaves, because that color looks dark now. A watered down layer of this acrylic paint would be the answer to it. So I'm going to grab a paintbrush and add a watered down layer to the leaves, hoping that it will look good in the end, and also a little bit on the leaves. Looks not good right now. There, what if I mix the dark and the light green together to see what color will that create? So let's mix. I'm going to have to wash my hand after that. Probably, but let's do it anyways. My hands! Why did I not wear gloves for this? But okay, I don't like wearing gloves that have fingers on them. I only like the fingerless gloves, but that defeats the purpose of not getting the paint on my fingers. So I've done it! Though my fingers are now green as the palm tree. But it's entertainment for you. So that's what I've done. Let me just trim that. It came out too long. Supposed to stay on. Okay, we're going to have to need a support for this while it's still drying. But at least it looks like a palm tree now. And that's the most important part. That was messy, but it does need to dry now. I kept adding glue to it, but that piece was not covered. So I'm going to add even more glue with some flower decorations. So let's get this one here. And what about some butterflies to hide some of the things that are not going too well with this butterfly. And what else can we add? I have this bead that also could work for the glued area. And let's let it dry before we can release the supports, because for now the supports are necessary for everything to stay on. I left it to dry overnight, and that's the exact amount of time it needed to dry. And it's holding up really sturdy right now, and let's hope it will last forever. And I finally used up the piece and everything, and that's the finished product. So, Szewczaks, what do you think of the palm tree? Please tell me in the comments. And bye, Szewczak. See you in another video. Bye.